Right, welcome to another inDesign beginner to advanced course. In this lesson, we want to learn how to work with our fonts type, and we want to look at what we call typography in general. So we want to look at how to work with our text. So now, without wasting much time, what we will do is that we have to go on and work with this very fast because it is a broad topic. So go ahead and go to file and open your lifestyle magazine from your size files. So from your size files, working with text, open your lifestyle magazine, okay, and then click on open. So let's wait for it to load. So when you see the messaging phone, just ignore it, click on skip. Okay, so now we are in. Now when we are working with text, for instance, I want to click on a text. I can either use the type tool, which I'm in right now, which is the T over here, or I can be on my selection tool but be able to use what we call the text tool. So now what I'll do is that I'll just double click it, and now I'm in my text tool. So look at it, double click, and you can see that now I have the text tool selected. Okay, so now let's also look at something. What can we do if I have a line like this or a text like this and I want to select all the text? What can I do now? For instance, I want to select just the word over here, so I'll double click to select the word. If I want to select the paragraph, what I'll do is that I'll click on it 3 times, 1 2 3, and select the whole line for me. That's the line, not the paragraph. Select the line. And when we want to select the paragraph, we just click on it 4 times, 1 2 3 4, then select the paragraph for you. But when we want to select the text frame, all of the text inside, we'll click on it 5 times, 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, and it also does select all your text frames for you. Okay, so let's take note of that. Also, what can we do now? Let's look at how to edit our text. To edit your text, you can either use your control panel over here, and now we are in our character menu over here, so we can use it, or you can also use our property tool to also do what? Edit our text. So we should take note of that. Also, what can we do? Let's look at the control panel and some of the features that helps us in formatting our text. We have the character formatting controls over here, and in the formatting controls, character formatting controls, we can also see that we have our font that we're using currently. Okay, so this shows the fonts that we are using currently, and the regular over here also shows us the font family or the font type that we are using. Okay, so now let's look at something over here. When I want a font to use a font mostly, but I don't want to go about and be looking for the font, what I can do is that I'll add the font to my favorite. Okay, I'll add it to my favorite. So I'll just come here and click on the star over here, which is the favorites, and it adds the fonts to my favorite for me. So when I do that, it just adds it to my favorite. So we should take note of that. Also, so when you come to favorites here, you can see that the fonts that we just added is Akira expanded, and when you go there, you can see that now Akira expanded has been added. So if I want to go back to where all my fonts is, I'll just click on here again, and it sends me back to where all my fonts are. Okay, so now we have this one, which is the font size. To increase the font size, we already know of it. Okay, so it increases the font size. So anytime you want to increase it +10, you just hold shift and then click on it. It decreases it by 10. Let's hold shift and now. So I've also taught you how to use the shift control and plus shift control, comma, and full stop. Shift control, comma, and period. Okay, or full stop to also increase the size of our fonts. So you can also, when you hold the shift and control, then use comma and what we call the period or full stop to also increases the font and decrease your font size. So comma is for decreasing and full stop is for increasing. So please, let's take note of that. Now let's also look at something over here. I want us to look at this. This is called the leading. What does the leading do for us? Okay, it controls the line spacing. Now if I've selected this paragraph and I want to increase or decrease the line spacing, I have to use what we call this. Okay, to do that, and it does it for me. It just increases the line spacing or decrease the line spacing for me. Okay, now you also have this. If I want all to be all caps, I just click on it and it becomes all caps for me. If I want it to be smaller caps here, I'll use these small caps and it also does that for me. So you can be playing around with this thing also, because I don't want us to waste much time on this. So please, let's take note of that. We also have our tracking over here, and our tracking is also very helpful. What it also does is you can select some words and bring the spacing, whether increase the spacing or decrease the spacing between them, the words. Okay, so that's one way of also using the what we call the tracking. Also have the kerning. What the kerning also does, that I can increase the space or decrease the space between a character. So now I'll just click in a character, I just click in like this, and when I want to increase or decrease the space, I'll use the kerning. Okay, and now you can see what the kerning is doing. It's increasing the spaces. You can hold shift to do it times 10. Okay, so that's what the kerning also does. So please, let's take note of that. We also have this, which is called the vertical scale. So when you select a word, you want to scale it, transform it. Okay, you can use it, and you see that the word will be transforming, like increasing vertically. Okay, so you should take note of that. You also have the horizontal here, which is this one, and this is what it also does. So please, let's take note of that and be using it appropriately. Okay, now let's go back to our type 2. Click here and look at the rest. We have what we call our baseline shift. And what the baseline shift does is that it can shift a word for you. Now this is the baseline of my word. The baseline, they are all the same like this, so it's on the same baseline. But if I want to shift it from this word from the others to give it a different baseline, I can use this and then increase it, and I give it a new word baseline. So that's what it also does. So that's the baseline shift. Okay, now what else do we have? Let's look at this. This is for italic, false italic, that's what it's called. So when you want to make a word, you have a font, but the font, there are no italics among it. You can use this and to do the italic. Okay, so when you use it, it falsely italic or things that will skew the word for you. Okay, now you can see that the italic is working over here. Okay, that's what we call false italic. Now I think we've looked at most of the things. You also have the stroke, the fill and the stroke. Okay, that's the fill and the stroke. And here is also for our character panel, and here is also for when we want to use maybe this the dictionary. Okay, when we want to change the words and others, the word type, maybe I want to use English UK, I want to use English USA. This is where I can use it to do the changes. We also have the alignment here, so I can choose how to align my text. Okay, so when I click on it, I can choose, maybe I want to align center, I want it to align this way. This is what the alignment also does for us. Okay, so please, so let's take note of that. So this is our character style, and we'll be looking at that very soon. Our character style and paragraph style, we'll be looking at that. So please, let's take note. Now let's go into our paragraph formatting controls. These are paragraph formatting controls. Now first we were using the character formatting controls. Now this is the character formatting controls. There too, we also have the align over there, where we can also align it. Okay, now let's look at something over here. We have a line indent. Okay, what does the line indent do? So now I want to indent my line. What I'll do is that I'll just click in the frame like this. I'll just click in the frame and I'll just either increase it, and you see that it indents or pull the what we call the paragraph somewhere, or I can even pull it away from the text frame. Okay, That's what it does. And we also have this is first line indent, first line left indent, okay, first line left indent. So it also puts only the first line, okay, it indents it for us. So that's what it also does. And also we have this is for the right indent, and this is for last line right indent. Okay, so play around with it, and it will do all that you want it to do for you. Okay, now I don't want us to waste much time, so just be playing with it. So you also have space before, and you also have space between. They all does their work separately, so you can be playing around with it. Okay, so when I want the space before a paragraph, you can just be playing around with it and see how it works for you. Okay, be playing around with it and let's see how it works for you. This is also space between paragraph using same style. Ignore, or you can add the spacing. Okay, so this is the spacing between paragraphs. So just be playing around with it, but we will look at this when we are doing our magazine. Okay, so we will use more of these tools, so there's no need to worry about it right now. Okay, so this, it increases or decreases the spacing between paragraphs. Okay, so just when you look at the space between, and we also have the space after. Okay, space after. Okay, space after every paragraph. That's what it also does. So please, let's take note of that. So you see that you select the word, or you don't select it, and it will be working for you perfectly. Now let's go back to our type 2 and our paragraph. We also have the drop cap options. Okay, this is the drop cap number of lines. So let's say I'll click in the text like this, or the text frame, and I want to increase the first line. I'll just click here, and you see that the first word will increase. So that's the drop cap. So if I want 2 words, I'll just click here and it gives me 2, 3. I'll just do it this way. Okay, so that's what it also does. So please just take note of it. That's the drop cap options. We'll be looking at this when we are doing our magazine. And we also have our bullets and other things. Okay, and other things, our numbering. Okay, we also have our shading and the border. You can be adding them to it. You do these things, so don't worry at all. So you can be playing around with it. So we also have our character style. Okay, right now we don't have any character style, and this is to also hyphenate our text, or to not to hyphenate them. Okay, so you can turn it on and off. You can turn it on and off when you select the text. Okay, so now that's what you should know about the control panel. Okay, so please, let's take note. Let's move on. You also want to look at how to place text in Adobe InDesign. How do we place text in Adobe InDesign? Let's go ahead, file, create new document. Now I want one. Let's turn off facing pages and click on OK. Now I want to bring in a text. What can I do? I can go to file. Let's say I want to use the text that I made in Microsoft Office. Okay, MS Word. I want to bring it in. I'll go to file. It's open. Don't use new. Just use, or don't use place. You just use open, and then come into your fonts. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's use place. Let's use place over here. So file, place, and then go into your SIS files. So everywhere you place it, just go there and then click on this fisherman, and then now make sure what you click on show import options, because you don't want to import the characters or the font styles and some of the styles, the other things that we did in Microsoft Office. We just want only the test. So you just check show import options and click on OK. So let's see what happens. Okay, so when it comes this way, make sure you check on remove style and formatting from tests and tables. Okay, so it removes any text formats and other tables from it. Okay, so just make sure you check that one. So when it's selected as, and it means it is working. Okay, and then what you do is that after this you just click on OK. You don't have to do anything else to it, and you just click on OK and it goes in for you. So now when you want to place the test, you just draw your test frame like this, and then now you have placed your test. But we have placed our test, but what's going on? You can see the red over here. The red square over here is showing us that some of the fonts are still remaining. Okay, so what you can do is that you just click on it, and then it picks the text for us. Okay, then we draw another one. Still, it's showing us that some of the tests are remaining. So you just click on it again. Then you can also put it somewhere. Okay, now we have finished placing all our types of characters. Okay, so now we should take note of that. What is the other way to that we can do it? Okay, now let's undo all these things. And now what can we do again? Now I have my text over here, so let me go ahead and place it once again. So file, and then place, and then choose this, and then click on OK. So now if I'm doing this thing, then I'll come and click on the red line here and then do this again. Maybe I see it as a waste of time. Okay, so what I can do is that I can just draw the text frame. I'll hold on Alt. So when I draw the text frame this way, okay, and I will hold Alt. I'll hold Alt so that, so let's hold the Alt and draw. So if I hold the Alt and draw, still I won't go and click on the red line over here because I'm still with the Alt held. It means that I'm still in my text frame and I'm still placing the text. Okay, so when you want to do it this way without going back to click on the red square, just hold Alt when placing your text, and then you can place all your text. Okay, so that's it. Just hold Alt when placing it, and then you can place it. Okay, so that's it. Right now, what can we do again? We also want to look at how we can place all the tests at the same time without like having to be going and placing them in different, like placing them all, selecting and clicking here to place it, but we want to place all the tests in one frame or at the same time. Okay, so it creates its own document, it creates everything for itself. Okay, so this is when we are working with more tests. Okay, when I'm working with more tests, so you just create a new document, and when you are placing your test, you just hold shift to place all the tests at the same time. Okay, so we will do this because we are just having small characters right now, or this thing is not enough for us to do that thing, but we will do it. Okay, when you want to place all at the same time, we will do it because when we are working with book, we will do this when we are working with book. So if you have a very large test and I want to place all at the same time, then when we are working with book, how to create a book, we will do that one so that it becomes very simple for us. Okay, so please let's take note of that. Now I can select all, and I can increase the font size over here. Okay, now it increased for me, and maybe if I don't want Minion Pro, I can choose any other that I want, or maybe go into my favorites. Okay, let me see. Gemini Pro, and then choose regular. Okay, so we are still working with text, and this is a broad topic, so I'll do it part 1 and 2, or even I'll even add part 3, because we have to create paragraph styles and others. We have to create paragraph styles and others, and this thing takes a lot of work. Okay, so now we have placed our text this way, but maybe I don't want it to be this way. I want it to be in columns. I want it to be in columns because I didn't do that columns when I was placing it. Okay, so now if I want to add a column to it, I'll just this way. I can come to properties, and then I'll come over to properties and then come and add my columns. So let me go down over here. So text frame options, that's here. Text frame options, I can go to type and then text frame options. Where is it? Okay, text frame options, object, text frame options, and then you can also make some of the edits over here, or the columns. Okay, or we can do it from the properties. So when I want 2 columns with text frame over here, I just click here, and then I have 2 columns over here, and this is the getter. Okay, if I want 3 text frames, I can also do that this way, and that. So that's how to also add columns to already placed text. Okay, so let's go ahead to another lesson of working with text in Adobe InDesign, which will be the part 2. Thank you very much for joining this class. Thank you.